Welcome back, everybody, to the Podecito podcast. I am your host, Surreal469. Thank you for joining me as we journey episode by episode through our collective favorite show. Of course, I'm talking about the incomparable Las Vegas. We are here on episode 13 of season 2, don't you know? That is Sperm Whales and Spearmint Rhinos. This episode aired January 10th, 2005, and has a 7.6 IMDb rating out of 10, and on LasVegas-theseries.com, which is accessible via the Wayback Machine. Go ahead and give the Wayback Machine a ducat or two. Go ahead and tip them. They're doing the Lord's work, don't you know? On LasVegas-theseries.com, it has a rating of 1.5 out of 5 chips. Oh my, that gives it a rating of an F. That's a fail. And the aggregate rating between the two of them is 5.3 out of 10, also making it an F rating, a fail. Oh, I don't know that I would go that far. This episode was written by Kim Newton and directed by James A. Contner. James just recently, as of recording this, celebrated a birthday. Happy birthday, James. This is the only episode of Las Vegas that he ever directed, but he's got quite the history of direction under his belt. He started with Crime Story in 1987, doing an episode of that. He did 3 episodes of the old Equalizer series, the one before Queen Latifah. He did 4 episodes of 21 Jump Street, alongside former, at this point, Las Vegas guest stars, the DeLuise Boys, and Holly Robinson, who would go on to star alongside our own James LeJour in For Your Love. He also directed, Max Monroe, Wise Guy, The Flash in 91, I'll Fly Away in 93, Adventures of Briscoe County. So that and Lois and Clark, alongside future recurring star Dean Cain, are probably the closest things I can come to saying something familiar to Las Vegas on his resume so far. He did The X-Files, Hercules is another one. She Woke Up Pregnant. That's a TV movie that just sounds like a classic TV movie of the week. VIP comes up again. There you go. The Invisible Man, he did 2 episodes of that. Remember our boys who tortured Sam for that early episode of the series? He did Buffy. Similar tone in terms of humor, I would say. And then he does this episode of Las Vegas. The latest thing, he does a couple other things. The latest thing that he directed was in 2009. He did an episode of Dollhouse. That's it. That's basically it. And again, I would say that there's been some stuff that he's directed that kind of fits the same tone as this. So that works. This episode getting an F rating, I don't necessarily agree with. We'll go into why. I don't even know why it would have gotten it maybe from Las Vegas the series. IMDb seems to be pretty consistent with their ratings of Las Vegas. Pretty much everything comes at about a 7.5 on IMDb, but I would say my rating is probably a little bit higher than both of theirs, but we'll see. This episode starts with not a whoosh over the cityscape. We kind of just cut over to where the Montecito is, the front of it, and we see a big roulette wheel in front that says it's your lucky day, and that's a bit of fortune here, because the song that we're listening to, if you're watching the original version, hey, Surreal, you have the original version? No, I don't have the original version. If you have the original version of the show, the song is called Casino, that's playing by Ralph Myers and the Jake Heron Band. Now, the one used on the show intersplices the line, "It's your lucky day, so come on and play," which almost makes it sound a bit like the Montecito jingle that Monica came up with, which you hear at the beginning of all our broadcasts here, as we try our best to stave off the copyright gods who don't understand that fair use is a thing. So we have to display it at the beginning of the episode that we are under fair use. I think that's interspliced, because when I looked up the actual song Casino, that lyric never comes up. But it is the tune. And that is the tune, the melody that's underneath it. And that's on the original and the DVD version. If you're watching on the streaming services, which is now 2 streaming services apparently, Peacock and Roku, Amazon has taken Las Vegas off of their service. I told you, skip the streaming services. And then they started to try to skip Las Vegas. Cunning devils. Either that or Peacock decided not to renew the license for it or something like that. Who knows? Maybe they're about to shift it over to someplace else. I don't know. But they already have it on Peacock. Maybe they had it on Amazon for a minute, and then they decided to put it on Peacock, and then they decided just not to renew it on Amazon for some reason. I'm sure they're getting extra money that way, so this almost sounds like another way of NBC not making the money that they could have made from Las Vegas, which seems to be a trend with NBC, but all right. Anyway, if you're watching on the streaming services, the song that's playing is called Winning Streak by David Walters and Aaron Gilbert, and that's not a bad song. I like them both. They are both pretty good Vegas themes. I would put them both on your Las Vegas mix if you decide that you want to brave all those ridiculous resort fees, etc., and go to Las Vegas or someplace similar that maybe doesn't have resort fees, but you still want to gamble anyway. They're good. They're decent songs. But we go into the casino after we see the mock board out front, and we zoom into that roulette wheel that was on the screen, and it turns into the roulette wheel in the actual casino. And we see people play. We see some blackjack hands being dealt out, and we see a group of ladies winning at the craps table. And then we whoosh through them to see Mike asking Nessa if she's seen the new Tiger show. Keep that in mind. That's going to come up later, too. Mike stops in his tracks, and he says that he can't believe it. He sees a former girlfriend of his.
It's just a girl in a red blazer. Name's Nina St. John.
She's beautiful. Do you know her?
She's my college sweetheart. The one who got away, the one all other women are measured against.
Wow. Wait, aren't you going to say hello?
Oh, no, I thought maybe I'd go and throw up.
So here's another reason why I connect to the show. Remember I told you in the early episodes, if you haven't heard the earlier episodes, you can go back and listen to them all on the various platforms, including the new YouTube page is coming back alive slowly but surely, including Daily Motion. We're now going to be on Daily Motion. Yes, I know. I have a thing against Daily Motion, but we're going to be on it anyway. And other platforms as well. I found Las Vegas when I was in a bad period of my life, and part of the bad period of my life came, or one of the elements of it, it was one of the elements of it, was a bad breakup. And was a woman who, or a girl at the time, who for a while, we were stupid and young, and hormones raging, and so measured a lot of other women and other relationships, and modeled the rest of my life pretty much after that breakup too. So I connect with Mike on this. This is where some of that stuff happens and some of that stuff comes from. I get it. I completely and totally get it. And then Mike sees her and doesn't want to be around her at all. Trust me, I get it. If I had ever seen her again, I don't know. Even today, I don't know what my response would be. But so I understand, Mike. I get it. I gets it. Nessa, though, immediately tells Mike that he can't do that. She asks him if he's a man or a wimp and tells him to go and talk to her. And again, Mike says that he's pretty sure she doesn't want to see her, but...
Come on. You're older, wiser, arms of steel. You may even be able to win her back.
You really think I can get her back?
She isn't with anybody.
Wish me luck.
Good luck.
And so you see Nessa. Nessa in this episode is what we in the business used to call a shit stirrer. She is a provocateur. She is provoking Mike possibly into something that he doesn't necessarily want to get into, shouldn't get into, who knows. she is, and I don't think this is the first time we've seen Nessa do stuff like that. Matter of fact, it's not. Remember when she kept poking fun at Sam about the marriage just this season? But she's going to be a bigger part of this storyline later. So Mike walks over to the ladies as they're playing craps, and we see them cheering on the shooter who shoots his dice and comes up with the winning dice all in hand, and everybody's winning, and Mike comes up and he repeats the line, "It's your lucky day," and gets a big hug from his former girlfriend, Nina.
Your lucky day.
Oh my God, Michael Cannon.
Let's talk about Nina. You have seen her many a times before, and so have I. The actress's name is Sharon Leal. Sharon Leal is a former Army brat, was born in Tucson and then traveled all over the place, including the Philippines, to be with her family. She started off on Legacy for 18 episodes, where she played Marita Peters. She then went on to Guiding Light for 233 episodes. Why? Because Las Vegas loves their soap stars. Not long after that, she moved on to Boston Public for 73 episodes, and that is where I first recognized her from. Boston Public, David E. Kelly show, one of the few David E. Kelly shows that isn't centered on the legal profession. I don't even know if there's any others that he created that aren't centered on legal profession. I think everything else he's done has been about lawyers. Ally McBeal, Harry's Law, Boston Legal, which came after Boston Public, The Practice, and most of them were centered in Boston. He's got a niche. But also, David E. Kelly, the husband of Michelle Pfeiffer, the sister of Dee Dee Pfeiffer, former co-star of James LeJour. It all connects. Anyway, she then does this episode of Las Vegas as Nina. She then, not quite a traitor, but then goes on to another show that tried to be Las Vegas, LAX, with Heather Locklear and Blair Underwood, where she was for 3 episodes Monique D'Souza. She was in Dreamgirls, the movie, as Michelle Morris. She does a couple other things, including Soul Man, Private Practice for 5 episodes as Sonia Nichols. She does 2 episodes of Suits as Lisa Parker. More recently, she did 21 episodes of Instinct as Lieutenant Jasmine Gooden. 4 episodes of The Good Doctor, which I still don't understand how that show became a popular show. 4 episodes of that as Breeze Brown. What a name that is. She does 16 episodes of Supergirl as Megan Morz. A lot of apostrophes in that. And the latest thing you can see her in is Pretty Little Liars Original Sin for 16 episodes as Sydney Hawthorne. Excuse me, not Hawthorne. Sydney Haworth. Oh, Sydney Hayworth. Wow. This is... Why... How is it so... You know the characters' names. Why is it so hard to write them down properly and have the names be consistent? It's supposed to be Sydney Hayworth, but they left out the Y the first time she played it because everybody's intelligent. Anyway, that's Sharon Leal, and Sharon introduces Mike to her friends that are there. One of them seems a little bit intrigued to meet him in this environment. He lets her know that he works there now, but they're going to meet later to grab a drink, which is probably good for Mike at this point. He didn't look like he knew exactly what to say anyway. So we whoosh up the elevator to see Danny and Delinda standing in front of some guy's door and knocking on it. He opens it and he doesn't understand exactly what they're banging on his door for. He's in a Montecito t-shirt and robe, and they tell him that he owes them for the night before. He owes them $864. Why? Because he said he was going to buy a round for the whole bar for Mystique, and that came to $864. In today's money, that comes to $1,422.15 just for him to buy a round for everybody. But he just, but he didn't pay it. He said he was going to pay it and took off, which is weird to me because normally what I would think is that, and matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I've been in a bar where that's happened before. It's paid for beforehand, right? Before a single drink gets poured, they collect the cash. Right? They tally up who's in the bar. They take a look and they say, okay, it looks like, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 15, 20, 25 people in this bar. Right? If you're buying them all a shot at $8, and then they do the calculation. And then they tell you how much it is before they pour a drink because they don't want to be stuck in a situation like this. But here they are in the situation like this. And this guy opens up the door and he is incensed that they would ask him for the money on a purchase that he made, strangely enough.
Look, I was just trying to get laid last night. Make this chick think that I was loaded.
Yeah, doesn't look like your plan worked.
Which is why I didn't pay. I didn't get what I was paying for. Anyway, what's the Montecito make a year, huh? Like $18 billion? So what's a round of drinks to you guys?
It's theft, Frank. So either you find a way to pay
I can't pay. I'm blow my cash down to tables.
So he can't pay. And Danny says that one way or another he's going to pay because they're just going to put it on his tab at the end of the day. And he looks at them both and says,
Vegas sucks, man.
yes, Vegas does suck. But in this case, it's on him. It's not a hidden fee. It's not a hidden resort fee. It's not any of the other fees that Vegas now charges you, which is why I don't want to go back to Vegas, because they charge you for looking in the wrong direction now. That's what and it's all hidden, and none of it comes to light until it's time for you to check out. Or sometimes, that's not true. A lot of it comes to light as soon as you check in, and then it comes to light again as soon as you check out, and then it keeps coming to light as you're there. Like they keep charging you for everything, which is why I don't like Vegas now. But in this case, this is the before times. This is the good times. This is when they didn't do that everywhere you went, right? This is where it started. This is where they were starting to do a couple of those things, but this is the before times. This didn't happen. This is where he said he would buy everyone a round of drinks, and he didn't. This guy, by the way, I'm not going to spotlight him too much, but his name is Sean Driscoll, and I bring him up because here he plays Frank the Deadbeat, but in every other season he plays a character named Larry, including the first one. He played Larry in the first episode. I don't know if it's the same character Larry. I don't know, but I'm gonna have to look that up when we come to the next episodes where Larry comes up, if it's the same guy. But that's Frank Driscoll. Maybe he was their good luck charm or something. He slams the door in Danny and Delinda's face, and we come down past the sign at Jester's Court, and we see Sam checking out the wait staff, and she is dressed to the nines. She's got a button-up shirt, and her hair's ponytailed back, and she's checking out, not the wait staff, but the housekeeping staff. Nessa, Mary, and Mike watch this whole thing happen as she goes down the line of everybody making sure their nails are clean, no earrings, clean shaven, etc. And Delinda, Mary and Nessa are trying to decipher exactly who this big whale is that Sam is going through all this trouble for.
Oh, maybe it's the president. No, the whole place would be swarming with Secret Service. My money's on Prince William.
No. You wish.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
I mean, who knew? Who knew? Nessa had a closer shot than we thought, actually. You know, Marsha Thompson had a closer shot than we thought. Who knew? She was probably close. She was super close, actually. She was super duper close. Mike tells them that no, it's a high roller named Scott Steindorf, who actually is the name of one of the producers of the show. This is not the first time a producer's name will be used for a character's name on the show. Piken was used for a character name as well. Mitch's last name on the show, Sasson, same last name as one of the producers. This is not the last time, not the first time at least, we would see a producer's name being brought up. But Scott Steindorf is the whale who comes in, buys out the entire 7th floor just for himself. He's a real estate tycoon and a huge germaphobe. Has this floor sterilized all for himself. So Delinda and Danny are walking the halls, and they're talking about the deadbeat who couldn't pay his bill. And Delinda says that some guys are completely intolerable.
Who's the last guy you found tolerable?
Besides you?
But then they smell something rotten coming from a hotel room. And Danny, I think, already knows what it is. Delinda, not quite. She follows him into the room, and it's a dead body.
Oh my God, that's him.
Who?
The last guy I met who wasn't a jerk.
A lot of good that did him.
I'm gonna puke.
And we go to the intro. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the intro to Las Vegas, which all of you know is the best damn intro in the business. If we've already gotten rid of one streaming service because they kept asking you to skip the intro. All right? I'm looking at you, Roku and Peacock, who keep asking this question. So, if one of these other streaming services that are still around keeps asking you the question if you want to skip the intro to Las Vegas, skip that streaming service. It's the best damn intro in the business. You don't skip this. As we let it play and we roll through, we come out of the intro whooshing through the Vegas skyline. Ah, how beautiful that used to be. And over into the Montecito, and the body's being covered up and taken away. Luis is in the room with Delinda and Danny and Ed. And Luis tells Ed that according to the prescription bottle and the name that's on it, The guy's name was Peter Greco, who checked in 4 days ago under an alias of Richard Jones. Delinda says that she met him at Cup of Joe's. He seemed like a nice guy. He didn't seem like he was suicidal at all, but they have a note, and we get to see the note, but he had a note and prescription pills, but who knows? Ed tries to explain to her that maybe that was just a facade he was putting on, and he, really was ready to check out. So they take the body out through the service elevator, and we come downstairs, and we see Mike talking to Nessa about the circumstances with Nina and the fact that they're now going to meet for drinks. And Nessa tells Mike a plan on how to get her back. Matter of fact, Nessa goes down a whole bunch of rules of how exactly to get her back. That she's going to pretend to be his girlfriend.
All right, rule number 1. Women are attracted to men who are taken. So from this moment on, you have me.
Okay, I'm liking this plan.
So Nessa tells her not to talk about anything but the relationships.
Well, when you're having the drink, talk about anything. Her parents, her career, her favorite color. But do not ask her about relationships. You don't care. You've moved on. You're not invested.
It's blue. Her favorite color. Cerulean blue, actually.
Quit being such a woman. Be forgetful, distracted, detached. That's what you men do.
And you women find that attractive?
Yeah, for some reason, we love that. All right, the last rule is walk away first. That, my good friend, is the power move. When your glass is almost empty, check your watch and get the hell out of there. You're a very busy man.
Busy's hot.
Hot! Trust me.
I love it when Nessa gets to play more, when Marcia gets to play more, and we see more of that goofiness. And there's something about an English accent and goofiness. There's something about it. I don't know. There's something about it. It doesn't seem to fit with the accent, but here it is. Let's let the dealer shuffle the deck for a second, and we'll be right back.
Yeah, this shit's a whole vibe, and this bitch the whole night. They be playing both sides, trusting them, and I stay by my bro side. Can't fuck with the whole tide, we be with the whole squad. Can't let them win. Yeah, this shit's a whole vibe.
You're listening to Whole Vibe from Jesse Evans' album Space Jam. If you like what you're hearing, you want to hear more, hear it again, or both, just go to tinyurl.com/EvansVibe. That's tinyurl.com/EVANSVIBE.
No mic, but I'm shooting and I'm back with a full clip. Pay attention to the flows I'm delivering. Cut off of my bros to my hoes.
So Sam is entering the room with her whale, Mr. Steindorf, and Steindorf immediately catches something.
I think you'll find everything to your satisfaction, Mr. Steindorf.
Did you just sniffle?
Absolutely not.
And she says that the room will be much better than his experience at the Bellagio, which he doesn't want to talk about. But one thing we will talk about is the actor who's playing Mr. Steindorf. The actor who's playing Mr. Steindorf is Maurice Godden. Maurice Godden has been around for a while. I've seen him in a whole bunch of stuff, as have you. Maurice Godden got his start on Star Wars Droids in 1985 for 4 episodes as Tig Fromm, but that was just a voice. The first time you saw him was in Night Heat in 1987 for an episode. He was in Ren 1010 for 2 episodes as Joe, K9 Cop. I didn't know there was a Ren 1010 series in 1990. His first big thing was Cafe Americain in 93 as Marcel Coutard, and that might have been the first thing I saw him in, actually. That was a Valerie Bertinelli sitcom. I don't remember that much, though, but I might have seen it. A lot of people might have first recognized him, though, as Misha in Seinfeld for an episode. That was probably his first big thing that people recognized him from, especially with the syndication. He played Jason T. Mazik in an episode of Lois and Clark alongside future recurring guest star or cast member Dean Cain. He was in 2 episodes of Goosebumps, actually, as Mr. Matthews. I don't remember which episode, because Goosebumps was a little bit out of my range. He did an episode of The Practice. He did 39 episodes of Working. And actually, this is where I first really recognized him. Working was the sitcom from Fred Savage after the Wonder Years. He did 39 episodes of that as Tim Deal. That's where I really recognize him from. He did 3 episodes of Spin City, an episode of Ally McBeal, 2 episodes of Friends as Sid. Some people might know him from that. He does this episode of Las Vegas. He then completes the pipeline into Monk as Pierre Lacoste for an episode. He does an episode of Malcolm in the Middle, Good Luck Charlie, alongside former guest star Lee Allen Baker. He does an episode of Modern Family, 4 episodes of House as Dr. Harani. And the latest thing you can see him in is CSUN's opera production of Gianni Schicchi. Now he does a lot of theater stuff, so that's why there's a significant gap in a lot of stuff that he's done. The biggest thing that you've probably seen him in most recently is Modern Family as Lester in 2016. That is Maurice Godin. In this episode, he plays... So when he was the boss on Working, he was a lot more like a... I wouldn't even say Dr. Cox. He had Dr. Cox's attitude with Michael Scott's ineptitude. You know, it was a cubicle sitcom where, you know, office culture and the kind of mean, arrogant boss. But here, he's not playing that. He's just quite the germaphobe, and he's playing all the germaphobe stereotypes. But as he does, he sees over in the vanity area the maid Jenny, who we actually saw earlier in the lineup with Sam, taking special care of cleaning everything that's in that area, and man, is he taking a liking to her, because the way she's cleaning it isn't exactly the way he's envisioning it. Watch. Yeah, did you see that? I saw that. So did Sam, actually. The song that's playing as he's going through this little vision here is a song called Honeymoon Swoon by Heinz Kielsling Orchestra. We've heard of them before. HEINZ KIESSLING Orchestra. And that's on all incarnations of the episode. He is in at least lust, but probably love, the way he's looking at her. Certainly infatuated. And they take extra care with the soft lighting and everything to just show off exactly what he's in love with. So Sam, again, lets him know that everything in the room has been steam cleaned twice, brand new everything in the suite. Hopefully the guy spends a lot of money to warrant all this. And he white gloves the room, seeing if everything is clean there. And she comes in and says,
"There's no dust.
You certain?
I use a special magnetic cloth. See?"
Yes, I do. Do you know that most dust isn't really dust at all?
Is that right? It's primarily dead skin cells.
I think we've figured out a new love language for them. Her eyes are amazing in this. Let's talk about who that woman is that just left that impression. The actress's name is Bree Turner. Bree Turner's also been around for a while. The first thing you've seen her in is Dunstan Checks In 1996. That's that monkey movie in a hotel, and ironically enough, in a hotel, as the French girl. She was later in My Best Friend's Wedding as a title sequence performer. I think she was a nervous bride in either that or The Wedding Planner. She was also in an episode of USA High as Tina. USA High, that awful show that I mentioned before. But she was on the teen train. She did an episode of Hang Time. Not long after that, she was in She's All That as a dancer. Not long after that, she was in The Spy Who Shagged Me. Not long after that, she did 17 episodes of Undressed. MTV's Undressed. A certain population of people know exactly what Undressed was on MTV. When it played, and yep. Where she also played a girl named Tina. Now, I wonder if that's the same Tina from USA High. Maybe. Of course she's got to grow up. She was there for 17 episodes, though. I didn't even know they had characters that were on Undressed for that long. She was the love interest for Deuce Bigalow, male gigolo, Allison. She was in The Wedding Planner as a bride. She was in 4 episodes of Moesha as Brenda. Oh, that's interesting. She did 2 episodes of Spin City as Tracy Crandall, Sorority Boys. Andy Richter Controls the Universe, again as Tina, but this time with 2 E's instead of an I. I bring that up because Andy Richter Controls the Universe was an amazing show. You should search it out and find it if you can. She does this episode of Las Vegas as Jenny. She then does the TV set as Carla. I bring that up because that's an amazing movie. You should find that if you can. I believe it's on Amazon. She did an episode of Standoff. I bring that up because that show had a great theme song if the show didn't last as long as it probably should have. She did an episode of Raising Hope. She did the Grimm series for 4 episodes each. Grimm Bad Hair Day and Grimm Love is in the Air, both as Rosalie Calvert for 4 episodes each of that. She was in the TV show and continued that for the actual Grimm series. 100 episodes she was in as Rosalie Calvert. That's probably her biggest role for sure, where most people probably recognize her from. She did an SVU. The latest thing you can see her in is a short called A Guest in My Country as Brooke Boschel in 2024. But the latest thing that isn't a short is The Big Lie as Fran Buckley, podcast series. And then she did 4 episodes of a show called Quarantine as Ashland and Zelda. That's Bree Turner. So that's Bree Turner. Bree Turner's got some amazing eyes that'll come up a bit later. This recent trend of guest stars with amazing large eyes. The casting director seems to be on a bit of a roll here. We come into Ed's office and Delinda comes in and she has a napkin with her and is feeling a bit suspicious.
Hey, sweetie, how you feeling?
Suspicious.
What's this?
Remember I told you I talked to the dead guy?
Yeah, about music or something?
Yeah, he wrote the name of a CD he thought I'd like. I found it in my purse.
A Brazil Chill double CD set.
So I looked up the name of the album that Delinda put on the napkin, Brazil Chill. There is an album called Brazil Chill. It's not a double CD set, though. It's just 1 CD. It's by Bob Baldwin, but you can find it. It's on Amazon if you want. But Delinda's got a hunch because she remembers the suicide note from earlier. And if you remember, we got to see the suicide note, that the lettering on that suicide note does not match the writing on the napkin that this guy wrote to her. So she thinks that the suicide note might be faked. So she wants to get Luis to help verify that. We then whoosh over to the table. We cut over to the table where Sam is with Steindorf and he's got rubber gloves on while he's playing, even though he's playing with an entirely new deck. Brand new felt on the table, brand new chips even, and he's very happy he's winning. He's got a bunch of stacks in his hand, but he tells Sam...
Did you know that only 2 people out of every 10 wash their hands after going to the bathroom? Look around you. Thousands of grubby little hands all pushing, pulling, smearing.
That is a little disgusting.
And I can tell you from secondhand experience seeing that at a gym, that is very true. It is almost non-existent for me to see somebody come out of the bathroom while and after they wash their hands. They seem to go into the bathroom and then head straight back to the gym. So I completely yes, the answer to that is yes. That is very true, disturbingly. But as Mr. Steindorf is telling Sam how much that he is impressed with her prep skills, he does notice a hair on his suit.
Well, you know, studies have shown that hot water is no more effective than cold water, as long as you've got a really good antibacterial. That is...
Not mine.
Sam immediately denies that that's her hair. Speaking of hair, there is a giant hairy cat in the middle of the hallway as we see my 2 favorite queens, Nessa and Mary, come across said cat, and they are caught dead frozen as the tiger is just laying in the middle of the hall. They don't exactly want to move in one direction or another until a guy comes along and wranglers the cat, you see.
Nice kitty.
Mary, why is there a tiger in the hallway?
I don't know. Should
Shouldn't we do something?
You're going ahead. I'm perfectly content just standing here frozen.
Me too.
Yeah.
There you are, you naughty kitty. Where have you been, my naughty kitty?
Apparently, somebody left the stage door open, and the cat just wandered off. And he leashes up the big kitty and takes her away while the two queens continue to just stand in abject fear. We come to Ed's office, and it's Delinda and Ed in there with the handwriting expert. Danny comes in, curious as to what's going on, and he hears that Delinda had a hunch.
Didn't the police rule it a suicide?
Yeah, well, Delinda had a hunch that it wasn't.
Delinda had a hunch?
You find that funny, do you?
Okay, I'm done here, Ed.
What do you got?
I think your daughter's right. There's absolutely no way the same guy wrote both these notes.
Good job, Delinda.
So Danny seems to dismiss other people's investigative skills quite a bit, which is strange because, especially at this point, because he's seen how that works. Like Mike specifically has been very, very good at it. Delinda wasn't awful at it in The Strange Life of Bob, actually. So he should give a little more leeway to some people sometimes. They go over the footage of at least the last day or so, the last couple of hours before the alleged death, the last time he was checked in, and they can't exactly track any inconsistencies. So Ed says,
Tell you what, why don't we just track his whole stay here? You know, maybe we find somebody he ran into.
His whole stay? But he checked in last Tuesday.
Yeah, and?
Well, that's... Okay. Sure.
Okay.
Who's Mike's friend?
Wow.
She's cute.
Wow.
by the way, good job, Mitch, of shaving that ugly thing off the top of your lip. Good job. You look a lot better clean shaven, my friend. You look a lot better clean shaven. Look at that handsome face. You just want to pinch his cheeks. Look at that. That handsome mug. Look at that. That's a model's face right there. We whoosh down into Belisara, where we see Mike with his old girlfriend, Nina. And here we hear the musical cue. I believe the musical cue that we hear here is Watercolor Love by the Joel Evans Quartet. And the reason why I say I believe it is because it's hard to kind of make out, but I did hear that particular song. My instruments couldn't pick it up. They're going to meet in Belisara twice. And I believe this time it's Watercolor Love by the Joel Evans Quartet, though. They meet in Belisara, and Mike asks about her parents, how they're doing.
So, how your parents doing?
Les and Gail are fine. They've asked about you 100 times, of course. I think you were their favorite.
They have good taste.
Which keep that in mind. Look at how her facial expressions, how she's playing that off. We learn that she has a internet company that has just hit the market, is on the trading stocks in San Francisco. Keep that in mind. And she says that there's one thing missing from her life. As she does, Nessa walks up.
Hello, darling.
Hey. Nina St. John, this is Nessa Holt.
Mike's told me so much about you. It's a pleasure. So, you two went to college together. That's so cute.
She is super playing a stereotypical girlfriend here who not necessarily passive aggressive, but I'm not feeling passive aggressive from her, but kind of annoyingly chipper. I think Nina is catching annoyingly chipper too, because you see her facial expressions. You know, she looks down. She's looking a bit nonplussed from the display that she's seeing here of Mike and Nessa, but the two of them together look amazing. Does Mike and Nessa. Look at this. This is a great picture here, the two of them. We've seen Nessa before. We know this isn't Nessa's personality. We know she's putting on a front. And I don't know if Nina knows that she's putting on a front, but her body language has changed. She's moved back in her seat, the way she's holding the glass, the way she's looking away, the way she's drinking from the glass. And then Nessa just plants a huge one on Mike.
Nice to meet you, Nessa. Oh, you too. Bye.
Wow.
Nessa is such a goof. It's such a goof. And Nina is not necessarily enjoying it at all. Mike then pulls the Nessa play out of his hat. He's got not a whole lot in his glass. He looks at his watch, says he's got to go. But Nina decides that she wants to meet him for coffee tomorrow, and so he says he can probably do that. So Danny, Ed, and Delinda go over the footage of our boy Mr. Greco's stay here at the Montecito. And we see everywhere he's gone. He went to Cup of Joe's, went to the spa, played the tables, went out to go sightseeing, came back at about 7:45 that night and played slots for a while. But hold on a second.
Plays the slots from 7:50 to 8:22.
Wait a minute. I got him having a drink at the Bella Sera at 8:10.
Well, that makes no sense.
No. Mitch, throw both these images up on the split screen.
You got it.
We've got two Peter Grecos.
They do look a lot alike.
I'm gonna run facial recognition on both of them.
So we may have two of the same guy. That murder mystery is getting a little bit more juicy now. Possible murder mystery. Sam is talking to Mike. Apparently, Mr. Steindorf finding a hair on his suit is not good for Sam's business, but then she looks at Mike and says,
You know, you have really good people skills.
Thank you.
You always smell nice.
That's right.
You have good skin.
Genetics.
You're bald.
Really?
You could fill in for me. Yeah, he was only freaked out about the hair. See, he thought it was my hair. I know my... It doesn't matter. If Steindorf leaves, we lose 10 grand a hand, not to mention 96 booked rooms.
By the way, that $10,000 a hand that Sam was talking about in today's money equates to $16,460.06 per hand. So that's a lot of moolah. So she recruits Mike to be her fill-in casino host to keep him from possibly going to another casino. Although realistically, what other casino can he possibly go to that can get a whole floor prepped the way that he wants it in a short amount of time? Otherwise, he might just be end up trying to go home. And she says that she's gonna owe him one.
Oh. And then I'll owe you one.
And she pulls him in and gives him a kiss on the cheek. And Mike is winning here. He's gotten tongue from Nessa and Belisara. He's got Nina looking a little jealous over there in Belisara at how Nessa was hanging on him. She's got Sam kissing him on the cheek and pulling him in close. Oh, Mike is the man. You know, Danny might have a case against Mike here for sexiest man in all of Sexyville and the sexiest of all the sexies in this particular episode. I'm just saying. Mary runs into Sam as she just left Mike, and she tells Sam about the three women, Mike's ex-girlfriend and her friends at the craps table, who are up 6 figures on the craps table.
Okay, wait. Here. One in red is Mike's college girlfriend. He's trying to win her back.
How does that help?
Nah.
Oh, I can work with that.
Yeah.
Sam goes over to the table and congratulates the girls on their winning ways and immediately starts connecting with the fact that she knows Mike.
Hey, listen, any friend of Mike Cannon's is a friend of mine, so please don't hesitate to ask if you need anything.
I like the sound of that.
You know Mike.
Well, of course, everybody in Vegas knows Mike. He's so hot, funny, and smart.
I'm telling you, he might be I know he's the coolest guy in Vegas. I'm saying in this episode. Now I know she's playing him up, and she's really trying to connect with her on some superficial level so she can get the business. But all I'm saying is all I'm saying.
Why don't you take a little break?
Yeah, that's a good idea. You go stretch the legs, wash the face, refocus.
There you go.
I assume you're interested in large amounts of money.
It's Vegas, who isn't?
If you like the podcast and you want to help support it, you can buy me a coffee, send a Cash App, or join our coffee, KO-FI, and or Patreon. Just search The Podecito on all those platforms. So Mike is in the room. Mr. Steindorf looks like he's ready to leave already. He's got a cart full of his clothes. He is packing everything with him, including baggied up wipes. Mike still tries to find a way to keep Mr. Steindorf in the casino. And he says,
I'll tell you what will get me to stay here. The one who cleaned this room. Jenny, I think her name was.
Jenny?
Yeah, used a magnetic cloth. Lots of spirit.
You want maid service?
No, I want her to be my host.
Oh, with all due respect, Jenny doesn't know how to be a casino host.
Yeah, well, neither do you. Now, Mr. Cannon, I appreciate your efforts and your devout attention to flossing, but unless you can tell me that Jenny's going to be my new host, I'm walking out of here. You decide.
Then it's settled. Jenny's your casino host.
So Jenny is going to be his new host. He's got good taste. He's got good taste. I get it. So Sam is at the table with Nina and her friends, talking about bumping them up to a suite and getting them the stuff that they would like, basically to kind of get them away from the tables at this point. And they just crapped out, actually. So they just lost that last hand, but they've been up, and they've been apparently at that table for 12 hours. So they want to go to a club. They are convinced into doing it by the blonde girl. And so off they go.
Okay, there is this club I heard about.
You're coming with us, right?
No, but all hooky girls
Come on, you're our host. What kind of host doesn't come to the party?
All right, I'll come for a few minutes.
All right.
And invite them.
Whoa.
Those girls are hot.
Blonde.
Sam, I think, understands the assignment. And the blonde that's next to Sam says, I get the blonde. Keep that in mind. So we see Mike in the locker room talking to Jenny, trying to get her to be the host for Mr. Steindorf. And she says that she doesn't know anything about it, but she's actually a pretty good negotiator because she knows that Mike's in a pickle and she can get what she wants. She says she doesn't want good money for the night. She wants a raise on her everyday job. She wants a top locker.
And I want a top locker. Sylvie got one last week, and I've been here 3 months longer.
Well, you're quite the negotiator. Anything else?
How about a new dress? I can't wear this if I'm a casino host.
I'll call Estelle at the boutique. She'll set you up.
Deal.
She's a good salesman. She's a good negotiator. So from there, we whoosh down the strip at night again. What a sight that was. And we come upon a Hummer with the girls in tow, the queens except for Nessa and Nina and her friends. As we do, we hear the song Vacation by the Go-Go's in the original airing. On the DVD, we hear a production song that says, there's something along the lines of Now That You Understand, we will understand as the scene progresses. And if you're watching on streaming services, the song that you hear is called Have a Little Fun by Timothy Fleet and Wayne Murray. So those are the different songs. If for my money, actually, I think the DVD song sounds a little bit better, at least more fitting for the scene itself. Have a Little Fun is one of those new songs that sounds like it's an 80s song, that's in the vein of an 80s song, but without the actual spirit. Like it's 80s. It's if new wave music continued. Not quite the same spirit of the 80s, but it's the tone at least. Vacation, that's not the most fitting song. Like licensing that almost seems like a waste, especially that song, because that's a great song, but it doesn't quite fit here. Again, for my money, I think the DVD production song, probably fits a little bit better for the scene that we're seeing. So Mary says that it was sweet to be invited by Nina and her friends, and there's champagne all around. They're exchanging pleasantries over their jewelry, etc. And one of the girls says, I've never been this excited about a Hummer before. I'm talking about the car. Editing surreal here. So as the girls are in the Hummer limo and are about to pop the champagne, on the DVD, one of the girls, the one in the more business casual suit, says that she's never been this excited about a Hummer before. And that line is only on the DVD version. That did not make the airing version, and that did not make the streaming version. That line would go in just before Mary says, we've never had a girls' night out like this before. But so that's a DVD exclusive. See, they got you. Uncensored, uncut, raw, uncensored, sexiness. That little Hummer joke.
I'll tell you where the challenge is in getting them to commit, which I have finally given up on.
Yeah, that's That's a shame for all you dairy fans. That's a shame. That was one of the issues with Mary and Danny. Danny couldn't say the words, even though he was right. Although I've been there before. Danny. Danny.
I knew you went to the same church, didn't I tell you?
Oh, me? Oh, no. I haven't been to church in years. You know, except, like, for Christmas, of course.
Mary, I think, she's talking about all of us being gay. You know, same church.
Mary.
Oh.
Mary. Will you help me pour this champagne over here? You want some more champagne?
That'd be great.
Pour champagne over here.
Delinda's not shaken at all. Mary is completely shaken by that. I've never heard the expression same church other than in this episode, ever. I've never heard that as vernacular for being gay, ever. Maybe it was. I don't know. Mary is completely shaken by it. Delinda is not. Mary says that Sam could have told them, and so did Delinda.
They're perfect gentlemen. Besides, they were on a winning streak with no end in sight. I had to figure out a way to get away from the damn table.
Okay, so if it comes down to it, I get the one in the gold top.
You know.
Which is the same one who said that she wanted the blonde, so... So. Ed and the Kings are in surveillance, and they're looking up our two Grecos. One of them is actually Richard Jones, and they're trying to figure out exactly what the story is.
So if Richard Jones checked in using his real name, why would he go to all of the trouble of pretending to be someone else when he killed himself?
He wouldn't. Greco stole his identity, and he killed him.
Oh my, that's quite stunning. We're going to get into that a little bit more. But first, we have to meet the girls where they went to, and where they went to is a strip club. The song that you hear as we come out of that commercial break on the original version is What You Waiting For by Gwen Stefani. If you're watching on the DVD, it's a production song. And if you're watching on streaming service, is a song called Get Crazy by Jaden Michaels, Joshim Svari, and Jolene Bell. Joshim Svari is Joachim Svare, and Jolene Bell. So yes, of course, as you're watching this on the DVD, the re-intro back in is a little bit longer, but again, because, you know, the DVD, uncut, uncensored, raw, sexy. Here's what you don't see. You don't see nipple. You see pasties on all the girls, and that's the most that you see. And that's it. There's no actual nudity. It's a little bit more than you would see on network television in 2005. But that's it, and the scene is a little bit longer, but it's raw, sexy, uncut, sexiness. And Delinda is having a great time.
Well, she's really, really talented, huh? So much.
And the way Sam looks at Delinda, Sam is looking at Delinda like she is seeing more of Delinda's history unfolding in front of her eyes. So Mary can't understand.
So most of these strippers are gay?
These men throwing their money away like idiots, thinking that these girls actually want to be polishing their belt buckles with their asses. It's enough to turn any girl into a lesbian.
The answer is yes. Most of them are lesbians. That's from what I understand. Again, I'm not the biggest purveyor of strip clubs. I've been, at this point, it's probably been a full handful of times in my entire life. Delinda, though, is enjoying the entire experience a little bit too much.
Damn it, Sam, I'm out of fives.
What are you talking about? Well, I'm not the friggin' bank. I'm gonna cut you off after this.
And so one of the girls has been off for a while, and she's been getting lap dances galore. She's the one that was a little slightly intrigued by Mike just for knowing Nina, but who, looking at her, I can kind of see why they cast her. She's got stronger features. The way they dressed her was more masculine-like with the button-down shirt. So then we hear Delinda say that she's never had a lap dance, to which Sam is a little bit taken aback by that.
I never had a lap dance.
D, I know you've had one of those boyfriends that took you to a strip club and gave you a lap dance hoping to make you crave a three-way.
No.
Meanwhile, Mary is guzzling down some champagne.
I did once. Didn't work.
So, which is interesting because the blonde is sitting next to her and, you know, doesn't think anything of the fact that Mary just said that she wasn't interested in a three-way after a lap dance with a girl would probably mean she doesn't go to the same church. She's not quite a lesbian. So, but okay. Sam says that she's going to buy Delinda a lap dance. So they take the champagne, and instead Mary's there at the front of the stage, and the rest of the girls walk off. Meanwhile, Nessa walks into Mike just coming out of surveillance and asks about the thing with Nina. So as they're talking, Mike asks Nessa about that kiss.
You know, Nessa, when we were back in Belisara doing that whole me, you kissing thing, and then there was that second me, you kissing thing, which was longer and a lot wetter.
You mean when I slipped you the tongue?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And I know this may sound crazy, but it didn't feel like you were just helping out a friend.
Maybe that's not all it was.
So you weren't faking it?
Why do men always think that women are faking it?
Because you can.
Yeah, that's that's a good point, Mike. Yes, because they can, and they do very often. Keep that in mind as this continues. Nessa says that she didn't just come all this way for no reason in particular.
Okay, so what? I just happened to run into you in the hallway, hundreds of yards from the casino floor. Mike, it's obvious you felt it too. Helping you out with Nina was a perfect way for me to make a move, without it seeming like I was making a move.
No, it wasn't. That doesn't make any sense at all. That makes no sense whatsoever. Because there's even if there was some kind of plan that she had thought up on the spot like that, because she didn't know that she made that up as soon as Mike saw Nina. She had no idea. So even if that was some semblance of some kind of plan, which it certainly was not, how exactly was that going to work? And how exactly was that not going to possibly backfire? Just in case that Nina actually does fall for Mike? But okay, Mike is still going along with this.
See, I knew you weren't faking it, and Wait. I am all confused and tingly in places. What about Nina?
I talked to Nina. You can have us both.
Really?
In your dreams.
It's a good one then, Ness. You got me. Nah.
Richard
Nessa's terrible. Nessa's terrible for that. I've been in that situation where a girl did that to me long before this came out. I was a teenager. It was just as confusing then as it is to Mike now in that situation. If you're thinking straight, and in that circumstance, there's no way that a man can think straight. But if you're thinking straight, the pieces don't line up, is the problem with Nessa's story there. Again, I talked about how the Nina thing would work out. The plan made no sense whatsoever. Why would she go through all that trouble just to kiss him and then push him up? She's messing with him. She's messing with him. The same way Delinda was messing with Danny in the office at Semper Spy, although I think she might have went ahead. Delinda, I think, might have been willing to go ahead with it in that instance, but she was met. But again, why wouldn't she be doing it the similar way that her sister did? Why not? That makes all the sense in the world, don't it? Nessa's terrible for that. And I feel for Mike. Nessa's terrible for that one. Ooh, she's terrible for that one. So Luis is in the office with Ed and Danny talking about how Richard Jones was basically an easy mark for Peter Greco. He had great credit and no record and no family. So nobody even reported him missing.
So Greco stumbles across Richard Jones, notices they look alike, right? Right. Targets him, kills him, assumes his identity, then erases his own.
Yeah. And so all they can kind of go on is that was the plan. He probably poisoned his food and took him out at some point.
Okay, so the guy comes back to the hotel. He's unaware, goes up to his room, takes a little nap. Turns out to be the big sleep.
Greco could be anywhere by now.
could be anywhere, and it turns out it's at the club with Delinda and the rest of the girls. She unfortunately has no service in the club, which probably wasn't out of the norm at the time, 2005, some of the cell phones that they had there. And so Delinda goes over, she's going to do a little investigating of her own, and she goes over to the ATM where Greco is and comes up and talks to him. I'm not sure if he recognizes her or not, but she certainly recognizes him. The song playing while Delinda spots Greco in the strip club is a song called Rockin' To Ya, ROCKIN, the number 2, YA, by Carla Laverne, and that's playing on All Incarnations. We then cut to the table where Steinfeld is with Jenny, and Jenny seems bored out of her mind as she's sitting there.
So, do you think I should hit or stay?
I don't really care.
21. You're my lucky charm, Jenny. Yeah. You sure you don't want to play?
Oh, no. I work hard for my money. I can't afford to risk losing it.
So you live in Vegas, but you don't gamble?
Gambling isn't just frivolous, it's downright obscene.
So Jenny must not be getting a cut of Steinfeld's losses, or doesn't understand the process of getting a cut of Steinfeld's losses, what a host does. So while she's sitting there for a little bit more money on her everyday job and a little bit more money for tonight, she's kind of missing a little bit of the point. So Mike comes over to the table where Jenny is basically telling Steinfeld that he is losing all his money in the most stupid way possible. And he's still in love with her.
See, this is what I like about her. You just say what you think. It's very refreshing.
Well, it's no wonder. You probably have a boardroom full of suck-ups working for you.
And it's interesting how this is played here. Mike is a little taken aback by it. It's almost supposed to come off as uncouth, but it's true. People who are in positions of power very often have no, I've said this before, have no scope of what the real world is, because they're surrounded by people who just want to tell them what they, and telling people in power only what they want to hear is a very, is how you maintain the status quo. Nothing changes for the better. Everything keeps getting incrementally worse, but you keep a job until you don't. And in which case, if for any reason you don't, it doesn't help you. But no one thinks that far. People who generally don't think that far ahead. So Mike is laughing nervously. We cut back to the strip club. And again, if you're watching on the DVD, this is uncut, uncensored, sexy sexiness, uncut sexiness. Basically just a longer transition over to seeing more girls dancing for a few seconds longer, including one of Nina's friends who's up front in front of the stage, the one who's a little bit more masculine with the more button-down shirt. The other girls are in a private area getting a lap dance from two of the strippers. The blonde one is having the time of her life. Nina is enjoying it mildly, but like not carried away. Delinda introduces herself to the guy who calls himself Richard Jones. Let's talk about this guy who calls himself Richard Jones. The actor is an actor by the name of Brett Roberts. Almost perfect name. 4 out of 5. I do have a note. His IMDb starts off with a TV movie in 2000 where he played Jared in This Is How the World Ends. He was in Pearl Harbor as a Baja Sailor number 7 in 2001. This episode of Las Vegas. He does Standing Still as a taxi driver. He does 2 episodes of Dirt as Cal in 2007. That's the Courtney Cox show. He did an episode of Southland alongside former guest star Michael Cudlitz as Ted Josephs in 2013. The latest thing you could see him in was a short called JDM 27. The 27 is spelled out, in 2025 as Jim Morrison. But before that, he was a Russian in something called Rabbit Hole. That is Brett Roberts. A lot of bit parts, nothing necessarily offhand, especially before this, to demonstrate that he works for this role, but he does work for this role. You can definitely tell that there's something off about this guy in particular. Delinda is sitting there drinking with him, though, as we see the girls in the corner, and they're enjoying themselves. It almost looks like they can see Delinda, but Delinda can definitely see them, and she talks to him for a second, explains why she's there. She's there with her friends.
Wow, I'm just out with friends.
At a strip club.
Yeah, they're gay.
Oh, you're gonna break my heart if you tell me you're a lesbo.
No. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'll get you another one.
Thanks. I'm gonna run to the ladies' room. You're back?
So Delinda goes outside where hopefully she can get some service, and it turns out that she looks like she can. Ed and Danny are actually about to leave for the night, though, and as they do, Ed leaves his cell phone, which he's had trouble with before. Just an episode ago, he had trouble with his cell phone. And what does he do? What does Ed do? He leaves his cell phone on the desk.
This is Ed Line. Leave me a message. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you.
Daddy, it's me. Please don't be mad, but I know where Peter Greco is. He's at the Spearmint Rhino. You need to call the police right away. I'll keep him here as long as I can. Go to hell!
So Delinda has to leave a voicemail for her father, but as she does, she gets kidnapped by our boy, Mr. Richard Jones, who drags her off as we cut to a commercial. Hold on a second. Let's get a new deck in here, and we'll be right back. Is your ride missing something?
You know I can do a few things under this hood. Give this baby a boost.
Do not.
All I'm
go
saying
there.
is, Mike.
How about a top-to-bottom detail at great prices?
Can you actually do that?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay.
If you're in the LA area, the place to go is Ease Clean Fast Car Wash. Let Eric take care of your car like it was his own.
Welcome to the family.
Schedule an appointment now by going to tinyurl.com/ecleanfast. That's tinyurl.com/ecleanfast. Or text 323-399-3674. That's 323-399-3674. We then come back and see the Vegas skyline, and as we do, we see the phone ring in Sam's room, who can't be bothered to answer it. She just picks it up and hangs it up immediately. And we hear Mary say, "Thank you, God," to that as we pan out and we see...
Oh, my head.
Oh my God, I know. Did you...
Hi.
Hello.
You don't think that something happened?
I can't remember. So I'm gonna go with wishful thinking and say no.
Well, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Well, hello, Sam, we're friends. P.S. Neither of us is gay. Right?
Well, I mean, I like to think you fall for the person, not the sex.
Uh-huh.
Maybe Mike's wish from a few episodes ago almost half came true. I don't think Mary, no, that didn't quite happen, but especially from their reaction, something tells me that nothing quite happened that night, at least not between them. Ed is banging on their door for some reason, at least on Sam's door for some reason, and then they kind of realize that they don't have anything to hide, but he's coming in looking for Delinda.
Where's Delinda?
Delinda didn't come back with us.
But I'm sure she's okay.
No, she is not okay. She left me a message on my cell last night, but I left the damn thing on the desk. Now, where is she?
I don't. She was talking to that hot guy.
Come on.
I assumed they hit it off and she left with him.
With him. Is this him?
Yeah, that's him.
And so we whoosh out and we whoosh through the desert, and we see that hot guy, Peter Greco, Richard Jones or whatever, is driving in the desert with some tarp, a shovel, and Delinda in the trunk.
Let me out of here!
Shut up!
You freak!
Shut the hell up! Shut up!
My father's gonna kick your ass!
Tonal whiplash. We cut back into the casino, and I assume at Cup of Joe's, and we hear a production song over the speaker as they're talking. On the original, I can't place the music. I think it's a production song. I don't think it's Watercolor Love like I mentioned earlier. I don't think so. On the DVD and the streaming services, it's a different production song. So the first one might be some sort of copywritten song, whether it's a production song that they just didn't license for the rest of it, maybe. But there's a different production song that plays on every other incarnation other than the original that you're watching. So Mike gets the rundown that Nina is gay and has a few questions.
If you're a lesbian, does that mean I was your beard?
This wasn't something I knew back in college, you know? It happened later. And it just felt more right. You know, it's like the difference between color and black and white.
Well, I got news for you. The classics are in black and white.
I've heard that explanation. I think the full explanation of it is whatever your truth is, that is like living in color versus living in black and white where other people's truths are. Whatever that may be versus the incarnation that being straight is just black and white. Because let me tell you something, I've seen some boring gay couples too. So Mike is a bit relieved by it because he thought that it was him all along. And it turns out it wasn't him. It was just she didn't exactly know that she was gay.
I can't be blaming me for that. Unless I made you gay. Did I make you gay, Nina?
Nobody makes anybody gay.
Well, I'll need a notarized letter saying such. I got a buddy, Danny, who's going to give me so much grief about this.
Yes, he is, Mike. Yes, he is. And so Nina then spills the beans to Mike that when she said that she was missing something, there is something that she is missing.
Remember in the bar when I said I had almost everything?
Uh-huh.
I want a baby.
You're not thinking what I think you're thinking.
Oh, I think I am.
Is she thinking what Mike is thinking? What Mike thinks she's thinking? Anyway, we cut back to the desert, and again, more tonal whiplash, and Delinda's in the trunk. There's a hole in the trunk, though, which comes to her benefit, as there is a cop car that pulls up behind our boy Jones as he's driving. Luis is in the office with Ed and Danny as they're trying to figure out exactly where Delinda is. Jones's credit card was pinged sometime before, and they're trying to figure out exactly where he is as they look for him. Ed is a little bit worried. Jones comes to a stop sign, and Delinda, with her survival training and being Ed's daughter, she pulls one of the lights from the car that Jones is driving, making it so that one of his brake lights is out.
William 5, copy your 10-7. Request on your hook has been put through.
And the cop notices it, and that's enough to pull it. Yeah, trust me, I know. That's enough to pull him over. And not even necessarily, your light doesn't even necessarily have to be out. The glass can be broken, and that can count as it being out. Trust me, I know that too. He is reported in. Luis gets the news, and Ed and Danny decide they're going to take off to go find Delinda, and with Steindorf's plane. With Steindorf's chopper that he choppers in to Las Vegas. So all the pieces are coming together. The Tiger paid off later. Steindorf taking a chopper pays off later. The cop then rams our boy Jones's car to get him to stop from behind, and he does, but he pulls over into a ditch, and Jones starts running, and the cop runs after him. And then we hear on the speaker that the boy Jones could possibly be armed and dangerous. Meanwhile, Delinda's still banging the trunk in the car. We then shoot over to Steindorf's room, and Steindorf is in bed with Jenny.
Mr. Steindorf, sir. Hi. Oh, hi. I'm so sorry. I did see the maid service sign on the door, but I didn't realize it was this kind of maid service.
Boy, howdy is it. And by the way, Jenny is the antithesis of a casino host. She's talking to her client about not gambling the money. She's doing what Sam has been accused of but never done, sleeping with the client. Well, not never done. She did it once to her detriment. Remember that one. The song that's played is called Blow My Trumpet by Orchestra Charlie Steinman on all incarnations. But yeah, Steindorf is extraordinarily happy that he's there with Jenny and he's found love with Jenny in the room. So Sam just came in to ask for permission to use the chopper, even though he had heard it take off 5 minutes ago. And Jenny says that the two of them won't be taking off until tomorrow afternoon.
I'm sorry. Can I just ask you why you're wearing the hairnets?
And Steindorf looks at her like, what do you mean, why are we wearing hairnets? And Jenny looks like, and they're both also wearing gloves. There's many reasons. There's many things that can, there are a few explanations for the gloves that can be made. And it's funny, that's actually not what Sam stumbled on. She did not stumble on the gloves. She probably understood the gloves to some extent. The hairnets she didn't get, neither do I. I'm sure there's some kind of kink. I don't know.
Let's move on.
Richard Jones is captured by the cop and handcuffed, and Delinda pops out and she tells everything. As Delinda pops out, Greco or Jones is telling the cop that it's just a lover's quarrel, but it's a lover's quarrel where Delinda's in the trunk. The girlfriend is in the trunk, and that's more than just a lover's beef, my friend. That is what we call a crime. That is what we call a crime. They're going back and forth with their stories. I think Delinda's is slightly more believable at this point.
So, she's just trying to get back at you, and he's a murderer, a kidnapper, and a liar. Anything else?
One more thing.
Patrolman says that they should go back to the station. Delinda says that she's got a ride already, and she does as the chopper comes down and Ed comes out to go and get her. Ed didn't fly the chopper. There is a pilot in there, and it's not Danny, and there doesn't seem to be anybody else in that chopper. So I don't know where Danny went, but he didn't go with Ed to go get Delinda. Nessa comes across Mike in the casino, and she tells Mike that Delinda's okay. Mike didn't know there was anything wrong with Delinda in the first place. It all happened so fast. But then Nessa says to Mike that Nina's a lesbian. And Mike lets her know that she knows, or that he knows, and he says,
She thinks that I am the ultimate male specimen.
You kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. You might as well pick a man who gives you the whole package. Flawless genetics, MIT graduate, gifted athlete, as we know, personality plus, don't forget this ass.
By the way, Nessa looked. When Mike said, don't forget this ass, Nessa looked. She looked. She took a peek. She took a gander. Mike says that he's going to give her an answer soon. He's assuming that there's going to be one more tryst with Nina to make the thing happen. Nessa tells him that that's not what being a lesbian is. It's not what being a lesbian is. Also, it might not only be one. Fertility is tricky sometimes. So even if it was a tryst, it may not be one tryst. Plus you have to plan the whole thing out. I think they would go over all the different plans and times to do it, etc. It's not necessarily something that it can, but it probably wouldn't be. Not the way Mike is thinking that it would be. So we flash cut to the two of them in Belisara, and we hear another production song as they're talking on the original version. The production song is again different. On the other incarnations, DVD and streaming have a different production song, but I think this is where the R&B mix is more than the other one though. Mike is explaining how this would be fantastic with their two genetics.
So you're saying yes?
Well, if not for you, then for the world. I mean, think what kind of offspring the two of us will produce. It'd be like the beginning of a new master race.
Oh.
Which is kind of what I was saying with Mike and Angie. So Nina has to tell Mike that it's not exactly how he's thinking, where it wouldn't exactly be a hookup for a couple of reasons, not the least of which...
You know what? I'm sorry. I should have been more clear. See, my partner, Pam, she's the one who's actually going to carry the baby.
Oh.
She doesn't really like Vegas, so she didn't come. But I convinced her to fly in and meet you.
She's coming here.
Yeah. Oh, look, there she is. Pam.
And we hear a production song as she comes in. Her shirt reads top. I think you can probably figure out exactly what that means.
She's never been with a man, so it's probably better to do the intrauterine insemination.
Yeah, much.
We see that Pam is short haircut, black woman with not a spiky necklace, but it is metal. It is not a soft necklace. It's got They're not spikes. They're more like flat rectangles around to almost look like spikes. But she does have another choker. As she was walking through, her belt looked like the belt buckle looked like it was a joystick on it. You see what they're trying to portray here, as if the protruding fake. If you don't, I'm not going to explain it. You can see what we're seeing, and we hear a production song that is more funny, but almost more masculine, funny type of song. Yeah, and Mike is completely taken aback by this situation because this is not what he thought at all. We see Nina and Pam kissing in Bella Sara, and Mike is just, he doesn't quite know exactly what he's looking at. We then whoosh over the skyline of Vegas at night into the Montecito, where all the kings and queens are in Mystique. Ed couldn't exactly be there, but he sent some champagne for the crew. As we do, we hear the song Dr. Funk by Blade and Friends on All Incarnations. Danny is wondering exactly what they were all doing at a strip club while Sam refuses champagne to the point where Mary tries to offer her some and Sam pulls back.
No champagne for me.
How did the three of you end up at the strip joint together?
Danny wants the details. Mike wants them not to be brought up. He tries to deflect by saying if they hadn't been there, then Delinda couldn't have solved the murder. But Sam gives it up anyway.
Whoa, you turned the girl gay?
I didn't turn her gay.
Yeah, you did.
And I have a letter from her to back that up.
Wait,
whoa.
Did you say yes?
Yes to what? She wants his sperm.
So Sam and Nessa are both spilling all of Mike's secrets here. He did not want any of this to get out, but of course it's out. Of course it is. And everyone is taken aback. But Mike has said that he decided he's not going to give her the sperm.
I'm saving my boys for the girl of my dreams.
Good.
Well, unless you turn her gay too.
You get 3, then I'll start whooping your ass.
Hey, I want to make a toast to Delinda. We're glad you're safe. I'm glad you're back. And I'm glad I've never given you a reason to kick me in the sack.
Ditto on that, sir.
My man. Delinda.
Delinda.
To Mike's sperm. Mike's sperm.
And the crew celebrate and they drink their drinks as we fade out. I like this episode. I don't think this deserves the F rating, the aggregate F rating. I don't think this deserves the 1.5 chips out of 5 from LasVegas-series.com. Would I give it a 7.6? I don't even think it deserves to be that low. I think there was a lot of stuff going on here. We had all the crew of the Montecito coming to play in this one, and that automatically, for me, we already know that is automatic advance points when that happens. The storylines made sense, seemed like they could happen. I enjoyed Mike's adventures in this instance. I told you what was happening with Mike. I told you how they were Dule Hilling Mike, how they were making Mike Gus. But part of that evolution is that sometimes, or especially in the very beginning, that trajectory it can be pretty funny, can be pretty humorous, and that's why they go to that well, the writers, as often as they do. I like his chemistry with Nessa. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. We do understand a little bit more possibly about Delinda. We hear a little bit more about Sam possibly. Now, this wasn't necessarily Sam and her romantic adventures. We're going to get into that in a shorter length of time than you think. But I like the Greco-Richard Jones storyline, made sense. It wasn't the main storyline, though, and that's fine, especially after the heavy story that we had last week. It makes more sense for it to be put here. We see more the same trajectory, good character points. Ed and his freaking phone coming back to haunt him again. With that, this time he didn't have it. And he wasn't charged before, although that wasn't his fault. The battery was taken out. But yeah, it was Ed and his phone, a continuing arc there. We saw more Luis. I like it when we see Luis. He's always good. We saw a clean-shaven Mitch. I love Mitch. And I like him without that stupid thing on the top of his lip. I like this episode. I think that this episode is breezy. So breezy. This does not feel like 44 minutes. Super breezy, super goes right past you, but not in a bad way where it feels nothing afterwards. You do feel something afterwards. You feel the satisfaction of a good Las Vegas episode, which is why, in my opinion, This episode is a solid 8 out of 10. Solid 8 out of 10. I can't, it's not it's not like one of my favorites. It's not one that I'm like, this is my absolute favorite. It's not one that I would have on automatic repeat, but I'm not going to, why skip this episode? It's a good episode. It's well acted. Sharon Leal was good in this one. As far as I'm concerned, you're going to tell me who your VIP for this episode was later on, but I like this episode. I dig it. I completely dig it. I want to know what you think. Who is your favorite on this episode? And more importantly, what rating would you give this episode out of 10 or 100 or however you want to rate it? What would you give it? I would give it I'd say it's a solid 8.5. I can't, I'm not, it's not when you got to go. That was damn near 10. It's not that. But it's a good episode. It's a good, solid episode. And I like that. It does not deserve the F rating. Certainly not. At least not in my opinion. Your opinion is the one that matters. Let me know what you think. Please support the best way that you can. If you can't support monetarily, that's fine. Sharing is caring. That's the best way to do it. Share it with former guest stars, former stars of the show, etc., crew members, etc. Get the word out there about the Podecito. We are here for the long haul. If you can't share monetarily, that's even better. The best way to do it is, I put the new ones up. Forget Subscribe Star. Subscribe Star is dead. We're looking at Patreon. We are looking at Coffee, Ko-Fi. We're looking at Buy Me a Coffee. Those are the best ways to support, and Cash App. Those are the best ways to support monetarily if you are able to do so. Just like Anthony, our entertainment director, is, and I appreciate that. Or entertainment manager? Is that the role I gave him? There are new bonuses, by the way. There are new bonuses. There's going to be some merch for certain tiers, a collectible Podecito poker chip, collectible Podecito poker set. There's more bonus material and stuff. So go into the Patreon. Patreon has the full list. I think the Buy Me a Coffee only goes so far in terms of how much you can donate. But Patreon has the full list of tiers that you can go and you can help support monetarily if you're so inclined. Brand new things are up there for the enjoyment of the Podecito members. The next episode next week is called The Lie is Cast. This is an interesting episode. I've previewed it myself. It's a more heavy episode that is still pertinent today as it was 20 years ago. It's an interesting episode for sure. There is some lightness to it though, as we get the return of Gunther. I love me some Gunther. So next week is going to be a great week because we get to see Gunther again return to just terrorize the culinary halls of the Montecito. And you love to see it. In the meantime, the in-between time, thank you for joining me this week as we went over sperm whales and spearmint rhinos. I appreciate you coming along with me on this journey. We will see you next week. And in the meantime, in between time, please remember to check the details of all your sperm donation adventures out there in the world. Oh, and also, please, take care.